to the Deep Dive by Global Heroes, your go-to for the real stories behind real heroes. Get more inspiring content in your inbox with our newsletter, and be sure to follow along on social media.
Okay, let's dive in for you. We're taking a deep look today at a really powerful story here in Vancouver.
Yeah, it's about reclaiming history.
Exactly, the reclamation of Hogan's Alley. It's a community actively, bringing its erased history back and building something new, something vibrant. We've got like a stack of articles and notes here all about this place.
And to really get what's happening now,
Yeah,
you kind of need the backstory, what Hogan's Alley was.
right. Set the scene for us.
So think early 1900s up through the 1970s. This wasn't just some street names on a map. It was Vancouver's first significant black neighborhood.
A real cultural hub.
Oh, absolutely. Flourishing. Packed with jazz clubs, restaurants, homes, churches. It was the center of black life here.
Okay, so vibrant. What happened?
Well, then came the 1970s and this push for urban renewal. Specifically, the big one was building the Georgia and Dunsmuir viaducts.
Infrastructure projects.
Yeah, and that project essentially just raised the heart of the community.
Yeah.
Scattered people, demolished buildings. The physical place was lost.
Devastating.
A huge blow, absolutely. But, and this is crucial, the memory, the legacy, that wasn't forgotten, not at all.
So a whole community basically wiped off the map by planning decisions.
Wow.
And that's where the Hogan Alley Society fits in. Yeah.
Exactly, that's the connection. They're a black-led nonprofit.
And they're dedicated to not just remembering, but actually reclaiming that physical space, building something new.
That's it, precisely. Hesehesis, the Hogan's Alley Society, it really grew out of that community memory, that determination to say never again and to, honor the legacy with real action.
So what's their mission focus?
It's profoundly about housing justice and cultural belonging. But what's really interesting is how they're doing it. It's multifaceted isn't quite the word, but it's very layered.
Okay, multifaceted. Let's unpack that. What does that look like, on the ground?
Well, it covers a few key things. They run culturally informed programming, stuff that speaks directly to the black community's needs and experiences, builds connection, provides support.
Makes sense.
Then there's critical housing support. Things like Nora Hendricks Place that provide supportive housing.
Named after Jimi Hendrix's grandmother. She was part of the community.
That's right. She was a prominent figure there. And they also have a community care program. But a huge piece is their push for community-led development.
Okay, like what?
They're planning a black cultural center. They're building genuinely affordable housing, prioritizing black and indigenous folks. Childcare facilities are planned, social enterprises too.
Wow. So it's holistic. It's not just about the buildings.
Exactly. It shows that real community reclamation means looking at culture, social needs, economic foundations, all at once.
Right, trying to rebuild that whole ecosystem, that thriving community feel that was lost. And crucially, making sure it sticks this time, right? That it can't just be swept away again. That's where the strategy comes in.
Absolutely. This is where it gets really interesting for long-term impact. They're being incredibly intentional about building resilience, resisting future displacement, which is huge pressure in Vancouver's market.
So how do they do that?
Okay, a key tool is the Hogan's Alley Community Land Trust.
A land trust. Explain that quickly.
Basically, it's a way to take land off the speculative market, hold it in trust permanently for the community's benefit. So whatever's built there, especially housing, stays affordable forever.
Got it. Locks in affordability.
Exactly. And they also formalize things with the city of Vancouver. There was a Memorandum of Understanding, an MOU, signed back in 2022.
Okay, so a formal agreement.
Yeah, it's essentially a commitment, a roadmap. The city recognizing HAS's role, supporting their plans for community-driven development right there in the historic Hogan's Alley area. It's about securing land control, building that partnership.
To build that black-affirming future, as the notes say.
Precisely. One that can actually withstand the economic pressures.
That foresight, securing the land, getting that formal partnership seems vital. And their work goes beyond just that specific site, too, doesn't it? I saw notes about policy advocacy, coalition building.
Oh, for sure. They're a major voice pushing for systemic change. They contribute research, expertise to bigger conversations like Canada's national housing strategy.
Advocating for more equitable housing across the country.
Right. More culturally responsive policies. And their coalition work is really powerful, too. They work closely with Indigenous nations, recognizing shared histories of displacement, the need for reconciliation.
Important connections there.
Definitely. And also engaging neighbors, artists, local businesses, allies. It really shows the power of collective action. that restoring dignity, access, joy,
Yeah.
it takes broad solidarity.
So bringing this back to you listening right now, what's the takeaway from this deep dive, this Hogan's Alley story? It's such a powerful case study.
It really is.
It highlights, the lasting impacts of historical injustice, but also the absolute importance of not just acknowledging the past, but actively investing in these culturally informed, community-led ways forward.
And it shows how community organizing, combined with smart tools like land trusts, government partnerships, how that can actually pave a path toward building genuinely inclusive cities from the ground up.
Yeah, building equity from the ground up.
And there's a quote from the source material that really sums it up beautifully. It takes a village, and that village includes us all.
Includes us all.
Yeah. So think about that. What is that idea of a collective village? This mix of memory, effort, strategy, advocacy, coalition. What does that really tell us about how communities can heal? How they can build resilient, equitable futures? And maybe what role us all might play in that healing and building.
Something for you to definitely consider.
Thanks for diving deeper with us. For more inspiring stories, subscribe to the Global Heroes newsletter, follow us on social, and stream It's a Beautiful World on Prime Video.